You know, one of the hardest things in life is feeling like you've been wronged and nobody sees it. You gave your heart to people. You showed up for them. You prayed for them. You fed them, supported them, trusted them, and in return, they turned around and broke you. They slandered your name, shut the door in your face, maybe even smiled while stabbing you in the back. And now you're left wondering, does anybody even care what I'm going through? Does God even notice what they did to me? Let me reassure you of something today. God sees. He's not distant. He's not disengaged. He's not up in the clouds sipping holy tea while you suffer in silence. No, no. The Bible says the eyes of the Lord are in every place, watching the evil and the good. Proverbs 15:3. That means every plot, every lie, every act of betrayal that was done in secret, heaven had a front row seat. You might have missed the signs, you might have ignored the warnings, but God never missed a moment. You were crying in your bedroom and God was standing right there. You were driving home trying to hold back tears so the kids wouldn't see, and God was in that car with you. While they were laughing behind your back, God was standing in front of your heart, holding you together. See, the enemy wants you to believe that your pain is invisible, that nobody cares, that what happened to you doesn't matter. But the devil is a liar. God has a record. He is a just and righteous judge who keeps the receipts. In the book of Exodus, when the children of Israel were being oppressed by Pharaoh, God didn't look away. He said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people. I have heard their cry, and I know their sorrows. Exodus 3:7. And just like he saw them, he sees you. Now here's the thing. Just because God sees it doesn't mean he's going to act the way you want, when you want. He doesn't always show up on your timeline, but that doesn't mean he's not working. Sometimes God waits not because he's ignoring you, but because he's setting things up in such a way that when he moves, everybody will know it was him. When God brings justice, it won't just be about revenge. It'll be about redemption, restoration. He'll make it so that what was meant to destroy you will be what promotes you. But you've got to believe that he sees you, that he is intimately aware of your suffering. Some of y'all are walking around with church wounds, family scars, and friendships that left you broken, and you've been holding it in, smiling through the pain, trying to act like it's okay. But God told me to tell you I saw that. I was there, and I will deal with it. The reason you don't have to lash out, the reason you don't have to get even, is because the one who sits on the throne sees all. He's already working behind the scenes. You may not see the outcome yet, but you can trust the process. That boss who mistreated you, God saw it. That friend who betrayed your trust, God saw it. That spouse who walked away like your years meant nothing, God saw that too. And he hasn't forgotten you. Let me push it a little further. Even when you didn't handle it right, even when you lashed out, broke down, or felt like giving up, he saw that too. And he didn't walk away from you. That's the beauty of grace. God doesn't just see the evil they did. He sees the pain it caused you. And even when you felt like you failed the test, God already factored your weakness into his plan for your healing. So stop acting like you're invisible. Stop thinking God forgot about you. He didn't. You are not abandoned. You are not unseen. Heaven has been tracking every injustice, every tear, every lonely moment. And the day is coming when God will move on your behalf, not just to correct what was done to you, but to elevate you beyond what they ever expected. God sees, and He will respond. Now let's talk about something we all struggle with, that burning desire to get even. You know what I'm talking about. That part of you that wants them to feel what they made you feel. That quiet little voice that says they don't deserve peace. They don't deserve to get away with this. And if we're honest, there's a part of us that wants to handle it ourselves, to clap back, to expose them, to give them a taste of their own medicine. But here's the truth. God never told you to take vengeance into your own hands. He said, "Vengeance is mine, I will repay." That's not a suggestion, that's a promise. God is saying, let me handle that. Step back. You don't need to lift a finger. I got this. But see, the problem is we don't always believe He'll come through. We think, well, God, if you saw what they did, why are they still smiling? Why are they still being celebrated? Why haven't you shut it down yet? And that's when we're tempted to take matters into our own hands. But hear me, your healing doesn't require their hurting. And your freedom doesn't come from their punishment. It comes from trusting God's justice more than your emotions. You need to know something about the way God fights for His children. He doesn't just strike back. He sets things in order. He doesn't just deal with the surface. He gets to the root. And sometimes He'll let it look like the enemy is winning, just long enough to make your deliverance undeniable. See, when God brings vengeance, it's not petty, it's purposeful. When God steps in, it's not about making them look bad. It's about showing the world who you really are and what He put in you. God doesn't do revenge. He does redemptive reversal. Let me bring you to the story of David. Saul chased David like a criminal, hunted him down, lied about him, and tried to kill him. But David never lifted a hand to fight back. Not because he was weak, but because he understood something. I don't need to dethrone Saul. God will do it when it's time. And that's what I need you to understand. You don't have to destroy anybody to be elevated. You don't have to throw dirt to be delivered. You don't have to scheme to be seen. When God is ready to move, nobody can stop it, not even your enemies. The reason God says, "Vengeance is mine," is not just to protect them, it's to protect you. Because when you start walking in bitterness, when you start fueling revenge, you start tying your destiny to their dysfunction. And God didn't call you to be a slave to your anger. He called you to walk in peace. He called you to be free. And how can you be free if you're still waiting to see them fall? Let me tell you something. God knows how to deal with people better than you ever could. You're trying to shut a door, but God can burn the whole building down if He needs to. You're trying to win the argument, but God is trying to win your future. You're trying to get justice in your timing, and God is saying, "Let me do it the right way, so it doesn't just satisfy your flesh. It strengthens your faith." Some of y'all are losing sleep over people who aren't even thinking about you. You're plotting how to respond, how to clap back, how to prove a point, and meanwhile God is sitting on the throne saying, "Why are you doing my job? Why are you carrying what I already said I would handle?" You weren't built to carry vengeance. That weight is too heavy for you. That fire will consume you if you try to control it. But when you release it to God, when you say, "Lord, I trust you to handle this," that's when healing can flow. I'm not saying it's easy. I know what it's like to feel like justice is being delayed. I know the pain of silence when it seems like the ones who hurt you are prospering. But just because judgment hasn't shown up yet doesn't mean it's not on the way. God's not slow, He's strategic. He doesn't just react to pain, He orchestrates purpose. And if you'll step out of the way and let him work, he'll do more in one moment than you could in a lifetime of plotting. So take your hands off of it. Don't waste another ounce of energy chasing revenge. Let them go. Give it to God. And watch him do what only he can do. God fights for you, so you don't have to. You see, the beautiful thing about God, and one of the most difficult things for us to understand, is that he never wastes pain. I know it's hard to see when you're still in it. I know it's hard to hear when the wounds are still fresh. But if you'll give God your hurt, he'll turn it into something holy. That pain they caused, that betrayal you suffered, that valley you walked through, it's not just something to survive, it's something God can use. Some of you are still trying to figure out why God allowed you to go through what you went through. You're asking, why did they do me like that? Why didn't God stop it? Why didn't he shut the door before they got close enough to hurt me? But I came to tell you, even when the enemy was writing your destruction, God was already editing the story. He was planning a plot twist, because what they meant to break you, God is going to use to build you. That's why Joseph could stand in front of the same brothers who sold him into slavery and say with tears in his eyes, "You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good." That's not denial. That's divine perspective. That's what happens when you realize your story didn't end in the pit. That's what happens when you learn how to see God in the middle of betrayal, in the middle of injustice, in the middle of abandonment. Joseph was rejected, falsely accused, forgotten, and locked up, but none of it was wasted, because when God finally raised him up, every ounce of pain had prepared him for purpose. See, the same people that hurt you may have unknowingly pushed you toward your destiny. I'm not saying God made them do it. I'm not saying he endorsed their cruelty, but I am saying he's big enough to weave even the worst of it into something that will serve you. God has a way of taking what you thought would kill you and using it to strengthen you. That rejection, it taught you how to pray. That betrayal, it opened your eyes. That loss, it made you depend on him in ways you never did before. Let's be real. Some of us wouldn't even be sitting here today if it weren't for the pain. We wouldn't be pressing into God like this if everything had gone according to our plan. It was the fire that purified you. It was the wilderness that matured you. It was the heartbreak that brought you to your knees. And it was in that low place that you discovered the high power of God's love. So, no, the pain wasn't pleasant, but it had a purpose. And here's the thing, when God finally brings you out, he doesn't just deliver you. He elevates you, but he won't elevate someone who hasn't been processed. He won't promote someone who hasn't been prepared. And the very thing you thought disqualified you, the divorce, the scandal, the loss, the betrayal, might be the very thing God uses to position you. Don't get bitter. Don't get stuck. Don't spend the rest of your life rehearsing what they did. Let God redeem it. I'm talking to somebody right now who keeps asking God to erase the pain, but sometimes God won't erase it. He'll redeem it. He'll take the tears you cried in the dark and use them to water the calling that's about to bloom in the light. He'll take the scars they left on you and turn them into signs of your survival, because God never writes a story that ends in brokenness. He finishes everything he starts, and what the enemy tried to bury you in will be the same soil God uses to grow something powerful through you. That's why you don't have to be ashamed of what you've been through. You don't have to hide the hurt. When God gets through with you, your story won't just be one of survival. It'll be one of significance. Somebody's waiting to hear how you made it through. Somebody's going to find healing in your testimony. That pain didn't just happen to you. It happened for someone else. And the moment you stop cursing what hurt you and start asking God how He wants to use it, is the moment transformation begins. So if you're in a painful season right now, hold on. God's not finished. He's still writing. What you see as a wound, He sees as a weapon. What you see as a loss, He sees as a lesson. And what you thought would be your end is only the beginning of something greater than you ever imagined. Now let's talk about something that makes a lot of folks uncomfortable: forgiveness. Yeah, that word right there. It sounds good until you have to do it. It sounds spiritual until God tells you to do it for the very person who wounded you. And I get it. Forgiveness can feel unfair. Because when someone hurts you deeply, when they violate your trust, when they break your heart, it feels like they should be the one carrying the burden, not you. But here's what I need you to understand. Forgiveness isn't about setting them free, it's about setting you free. See, unforgiveness is a prison you lock yourself in while holding the key. It eats at your peace. It clouds your vision. It blocks your prayers. You can't even worship right because you're still carrying that name, that face, that incident in your spirit. You're trying to move forward, but you're dragging a bag of bitterness behind you. And God is saying, let it go, not for their sake, but for yours. Forgiveness is not saying what they did was okay. It's not pretending it didn't happen. It's not giving them permission to do it again. Forgiveness is saying, I refuse to let what you did to me keep me bound any longer. It's you stepping out of the role of judge and into the hands of the true judge. It's you saying, God, I trust you enough to carry what I can't. Some of y'all are missing your blessing because you're still waiting for an apology. But let me help you. Some people will never say sorry. They don't see what they did. They don't think they were wrong. Or maybe they do, but their pride is louder than their conviction. If you're waiting for them to make it right before you move on, you might be stuck for the rest of your life. But forgiveness says, I release them anyway, not because they're right, but because I need to be free. That's why Jesus said, forgive, and you will be forgiven. There's a direct connection between how we release others and how God releases us. We want grace but won't extend it. We want mercy but hold on to grudges. We say we want breakthrough, but we won't break the chains of bitterness. You can't walk into the next season still holding hands with offense. Forgiveness clears the path for God's favor. It's not weakness, it's wisdom. Let's be real. Some of the people you need to forgive will never admit how badly they hurt you. But you've got to decide whether their silence is going to keep you bound, whether their lack of repentance is going to block your release. Because holding on to it isn't hurting them, it's hurting you. It's keeping you from resting at night. It's showing up in your relationships. It's poisoning your peace. You can't keep carrying this and expect to step into everything God has for you. And let me tell you this, forgiveness isn't always a one-time thing. Sometimes you've got to forgive over and over, not because they keep hurting you, but because the memory keeps trying to haunt you. You think you've let it go, And then you see something, hear something, feel something, and it all comes flooding back. That's when you remind yourself, I've already released that. I'm not going to rehearse what God has already helped me release. When Jesus hung on that cross, bleeding for sins he never committed, betrayed by people he came to save, what did he say? Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. That's not just a statement of mercy, that's a model for us. Because sometimes they really don't know the depth of what they did to you. And even if they do, forgiveness takes the power out of their offense. It says, you don't get to control my peace anymore. You don't get to occupy space in my heart that belongs to God. You see, forgiveness is how God sets the stage for your promotion. It's how He prepares your heart for what's next. That's why some of you have been stuck, not because the devil is blocking you, but because bitterness is. You're praying for open doors, but you're still holding on to closed chapters. You're asking God for a new thing, but your hands are too full of old pain. And God is saying, if you'll let go of what hurt you, I'll hand you what I've prepared for you. So I came to tell somebody today, forgive. Not because they earned it, not because they asked for it, not because they deserve it. Forgive because you deserve peace. You deserve to walk in freedom. You deserve to step into your calling without dragging chains from your past. God calls you to forgive so He can bless you.